Well, hey everyone, and welcome to What's Cooking. Today it's What's Cooking with Sensormatic. I'm Kevin McMenimen, your host with Loss Prevention Magazine, and with me is Anthony Camparone. He's the food safety subject matter expert with Sensormatic. Anthony, welcome.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're excited to be speaking with you. You're a new face for me, and I think probably a new face for a lot of folks. Let's start with the good stuff, the really good stuff. Tell us about you. What's your background? Where are you from? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my background's a little bit different, probably some of your previous guests. So my background's all food safety related. So I'm a food scientist by trade. I have a bachelor's from Kansas State. And I've got about 16, 17 years in the food industry, all in food safety. So that's going to be centered around manufacturing, a little bit of corporate compliance, auditing and certification. So spent a number of years working for Mars Incorporated, Mondelez, so Snickers, Oreos, all the good stuff that people like. And then spent some time in auditing and certification with NSF International and SGS. You know, I'm based in South Bend, Indiana, so go Irish.
There you go.
Dogs, you know, today's my dog's birthday, so that's exciting. But yeah, food scientist by background, you know, from the retail perspective, you know, don't have a ton of background there, but really fits the mold for what we're trying to do here at Sensormatic.
That's wonderful. And it's kind of a new area for Sensormatic too, right? Food, health, and safety is it's really started to become more of that loss prevention, asset protection function. I know that we've talked more about it from a magazine perspective over the last, just the last couple of years, a little bit more. But this is kind of a new thing for Sensormatic too, right? Can you tell me about that evolution?
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, with my background being in food safety and food science, as a global company, we took a look at, the current trends, because it's important for us to understand what's influencing the industry out there. So things like automation, safety, digitization, sustainability, even the ever-growing roles of our asset protection leaders. We wanted to identify where our solutions fit and how we can help the industry. And essentially, we identified a bit of a gap in the public health and safety space. Some little bit of statistics out there. We average about $200 billion a year in food waste and loss in North America alone. 1 in 6 people fall ill each year because of food contamination. So between those facts and what some of our asset protection leaders are seeing, where the industry is going, certainly there's a gap that we identified. And so that's where the Pen Connected solution was born. It's to help fill that gap that we've identified out there in the industry.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about that solution. So it's Pen Connected, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah. And so there's a couple different components when we talk about Pen Connected. First and foremost, it's a cloud-based solution. We're going to leverage mobile technologies. We're going to leverage IoT. And the essential components of that is we're going to record, we're going to monitor, and most importantly, we're going to optimize compliance and task management related activities in the retail space. So this could be things like grocery stores, could be convenience stores, restaurants, quick service restaurants, all the way to pharmacies, hospitals, anything in terms of food loss, pharmaceutical loss, and waste. So a few different areas that we can get into in terms of the compliance there. But the software itself is a great task management piece. We've got hardware that goes along with that in terms of sensors that can monitor hot items, refrigerated items, frozen items. We utilize some thermal imaging and certain applications as well if we need that piece. But the beautiful part about Pen Connected is that we're looking at a day and age of compliance where we talk about public health, OSHA, EPA, or even just company-specific tasks. How do we know the level of compliance that our stores are being held to? So, in an example of that, I may be in charge of 200 or 300 stores across the country or even globally. How do I know what's actually taking place at all of these different facilities or different stores in real time? The answer is I don't. I'm relying on paper reports. I'm relying on manual tasks to give me that information. And that's where Pen Connected comes into play. We have automated push notifications, alarms, escalations, different modules like delivery, housekeeping, safety, traceability. I can go on and on. But essentially, the Pen Connected solution is designed to essentially run your store. And the great question is, okay, so it captures all this data from refrigeration monitoring to all the modules I just talked about. So where does the data go? Well, that's where the corporate aspect of Pen Connected come into play, is customized dashboards. So the people that actually make decisions, we can get them the data in real time that's accurate, efficient, so that way these decision makers can actually make decisions. And that's the high level of it. So really looking at a task management solution that incorporates temperature monitoring, as well as all the other activities that take place from a retail standpoint.
So now, does that roll up? Is that I mean, obviously you're getting the information to the hands of the people who need it locally, right? So if I'm in in a grocery store and I know that there's a problem with the refrigeration unit or that type of thing, those sensors are going off. It's giving me that so I can respond to it right then and there, right?
Absolutely. So when we talk about the hardware piece, it's all 24/7 real-time monitoring. All that can be, customized from a store level perspective. But again, we talk about, the 200 store aspect. If I'm sitting at, from a corporate perspective, I also know that, store number 37 has had 15 alarms in the last month, and this is how they've handled it. So the store level knows exactly what's going on, and all the way up to the corporate level, so they can address maybe problematic stores from a holistic standpoint, from a higher level perspective.
And that's where I was going with that roll up, whereas I was going to go next. Okay, so that's the local information, but then how do I manage 10 stores, 100 stores, 1,000 stores, and roll that up so that I can identify my problem equipment, my problem stores, my problem issue. Maybe there's faulty something that I've got throughout my chain, right? You wouldn't necessarily know that without, or you'd probably know it a lot quicker with this.
Absolutely, and that's the big piece about Pen Connected is the efficiency that we can provide. And just like you mentioned, it's how do I know what's happening at all these different stores? Well, again, I'm be relying on manual reports, somebody at the store level to compile data, spend time, spend resources to provide that information to me. Whereas with Pen Connected, every sort of task management related piece, whether it is refrigeration monitoring to emergency lighting and emergency doors and all the tasks that are done, it's all real time. I know exactly what's taking place, when it's supposed to take place, and that's the buildup. So from the store level, again, I could be on my mobile device, whether that's iOS or Android or whatever type of platform you want to work off of. I can do those specific tasks, but then all that data builds up into the corporate level. So all the data from all the stores then goes up into the cloud, automatically tracking trends. So I can log on if I'm interested in the food safety information. I can log on and know exactly who my problematic stores are, where my compliance issues might be. Same thing if I'm interested in environmental health and safety. All those tasks that are done at stores, I can easily log into my dashboard and quickly see where my issues are. So that way I know where my attention needs to go.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, look at all the time that you're saving for the folks, even if they did report it, right? This way, that everything's being reported, and you've taken that off of their plate, so they can focus on the other tasks, the customer service issues, the customer service needs in the stores, and really drive sales. While you've kind of automated that whole, we've got a finger on the pulse of what's going on in the store, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned it too. We're freeing up the resources to be able to handle the issues that are taking place on a daily basis. They're not worrying about carrying around that clipboard that they're doing to go manually take something, or maybe they forgot because they got busy. Maybe there was some customer issues that needed to take place, or whatever needed to happen. They're not getting sidetracked to forget about important tasks that are taking place, because we have that automated reminder. Hey, I'm walking around, I'm going from issue to issue and addressing things. Well, I've got that push notification that says, oh wait, it's time to go take the temperatures of the rotisserie chicken that's out, or it's time to go take the temperatures of the seafood salad that's in the deli. Because if those temperatures are going bad, certainly we've got food safety issues that are taking place. And so we can go quickly pivot to do that and then carry on with the day. And again, it's not missing those critical steps along the way from a store perspective.
Yeah. And when it comes to food safety, those are critical, right? Because like
Absolutely.
you said, you've got people, opportunities for people to get sick. And then you've got brand issues, when it's all over the news that, 40 people got sick because they ate the seafood at such and such, and now suddenly people don't want to really buy so much seafood, let alone other stuff from such. right? So what
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
what kind of feedback are you getting, Anthony? What are the, what are the retailers saying? What kind of things are you hearing from the folks that are using Penn Connected?
Well, the feedback has been unbelievable so far. It's been extremely positive. And what we're seeing, companies are really kind of seeing that ROI in about 7 months or so on the average size grocery store. So we're getting a quick ROI, and then again on top of that, and we've touched on it a little bit, but the reduced time it takes corporate leaders to get the data and make those decisions. Again, I'll use an example, and it's a food safety leader at a prominent grocery store chain throughout the United States here. When they try to make changes, certain times when those changes are put in place, the return and understanding if those changes have been efficient can take months, can take quarters, can take years, just because of all the data that gets compiled. Now, when they're making changes, they're understanding and within days or weeks if that change is effective, because they can quickly see how it's trending. And if they need to pivot quickly, they can pivot quickly. And so those have been some really nice pieces of feedback that we've got. Also along the way is preventing stock loss related to food and even pharmaceuticals. So you think about the pharmaceutical aspect of even grocery chains. In most cases, those areas are not having employees in there 24/7. They close at certain times. Now, granted, some places do have some sort of monitoring. We've saved thousands of dollars due to stock loss, due to refrigerations going out. You think vaccines and medicines that require to be refrigerated or even in a frozen temperature holding pattern. Again, we've have some real life case studies where again, we've saved tens of thousands of dollars on stock loss with refrigeration units going out. So again, feedback has been unbelievable. We're continuing to evolve our solution and add different components, but yeah, the feedback has been great so far.
So this type of solution, I mean, this isn't like, oh, we're going to go buy a sensor down the street and put it on this, refrigerator and that'll be it, right? This is an investment. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time. These types of things, are not just hey, can I have a little money to go do whatever? This is a big investment. It's normally not just one store, but multiple stores, things like that, right? So I've got to go sell this to upper management. I've got to go sell this to the C-suite and get them to buy in. What are some of the things that you can enable me with as your buyer, right? As someone who's looking to take this type of solution and get that investment. What are some of the things that I should be considering? What are some of the things that would help me sell it internally inside my chain?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about the ROI already. Like I mentioned, we're seeing on average about 7 months getting that full return on investment.
Which is great.
The,
I mean, anything under a year is always great. Usually it's
absolutely.
multiple year, right? So that's fantastic.
Yeah, so a nice realization of savings. And again, the other pieces, there's a few components. So we're seeing, a big reduction in food and even potentially pharmaceutical waste. We're seeing that reduction in labor. That's a big one right now with struggles and strain on the labor force that we're seeing. And then again, an increase in compliance levels. So we're getting a return on our investment, and then we're seeing an increase in compliance. The other factor, again, and I mentioned it a few times at play here, is again, it's allowing those decision makers to make decisions based off of accurate and efficient data. Whereas in the previous cases, it's spotty, it could be untrustworthy. Again, we've eliminated that with Penn Connected. So we're seeing that ROI. We've got reduction in labor. We're seeing increased compliance levels. And then with that decision-making ability, it's invaluable. All the time that could be saved based off of the ability to make decisions that comes to the operation of the entire business.
Yeah, and those are hitting all the key points, right? Because like you said, with labor force issues, right? We have a hard enough time right now filling those open positions. So being able to take things off of the plate of those people that we do have, right, and that we're trying to get them to do their jobs as best they can with what little we have sometimes, to be able to take some of those factors away, but to be able to do it in a way where I'm also ticking the box on compliance, which could be, if you don't do that right, we all know the fines and things that can come into play with that, especially depending on which area of the country that you're in. Even more so, the fact that, like you said, being able to enable effective leadership and communication of these types of data points to make those impactful business decisions.
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to strive for. We're trying to provide the data that way people that need to make the decisions can make it. Along the way, certainly we are digitizing other tasks throughout the operation, like I mentioned, refrigeration monitoring, frozen goods, hot food items. Along the way, there's all these different modules that can help reduce the amount of labor that's needed, just make your entire operation be that much more efficient from top to bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like a pretty cool little piece of technology that you guys have developed over there, and looking forward to see the impact that you make in the industry. Now, I assume you guys are going to be at the trade shows coming up. How do people, find out more? Should they just go to a website? Can they reach out to you personally? What's the best way to get folks in touch with finding out more about Penn Connected?
Yeah, there's a few different ways. So you mentioned the trade shows coming up. We are going to be at the Relay trade show coming up here at the end of April. We're going to be at NRF Protect, amongst others. Me personally, I'll be at the FMI Grocery Resilience and Asset Protection Show coming up here in about 2 weeks, around March 20th. So depending on when this airs, it could be that time, but I'll be there specifically talking Penn Connected and meeting with other asset protection leaders. We've got the Sensormatic webpage. And then again, my name, Anthony Camparone. You can reach out to me. I'm sure my contact information will be in here via LinkedIn or however this is published. But that's the best way. And we can get you demos. We can get you more information. We've got a ton of publications out there, and also with our in-person show. So we look forward to seeing everyone out there and being able to talk about Penn Connected or our other solutions that are out there.
Excellent. Well, definitely appreciate your time today, Anthony. This has been very insightful. Great information. Great to hear Sensormatic continuing to just grow and evolve and expand and take on these new challenges and do it in a way that's really benefiting the industry. So thank you for what you're doing, Sensormatic. Thank you for all you do for the industry. We really appreciate it. This has been What's Cooking with Loss Prevention Magazine. I'm Kevin McMenimen, your host, and we hope that you'll tune in again with us next time. So take care and stay safe, everybody.